its start back in 1942, so we've been around for 78 years. And as you know, gardening and composting go hand in hand. So composting has been a part of our legacy since the beginning. And now people can get involved with composting at the Civic Garden Center by taking any of our basic backyard composting courses. Or if they really want to take a deep dive to learn more about composting, they can join our Master Composter Certification program, which is hosted every August of the year. Simply with composting, all you would need is a bucket with some holes in it, and you can collect your food scraps and add to that bucket along with some brown material. You could also do that in a different variety called vermicomposting, which is composting with tropical redworms. And that's fantastic if you live in a small area or in an apartment. You can just have a bin with a Rubbermaid tote that you make yourself underneath of your sink or in your basement somewhere easy. Now, if you have more space, I recommend that you get a 3-bin compost system. That way you can have different stages of composting going at the same time, so you can always be having finished compost just about to be ready to put on your gardens, but then you have another space where you can continually add your fruit and vegetable scraps to as well. Another style of composting would be to use a tumbler. If you're in a location where you're worried about raccoons, possums, or squirrels getting into your bin, or you want to make sure you contain any smells for your neighbors, that's a fantastic option. You can also get composting in a lot less time by using a tumbler as well. And there are a lot of different methods in your garden for compost application. One such method is lasagna composting. So you're basically composting in layers to really help add some nutrients to your soil to get your garden ready for spring and for planting. As I mentioned, we have a rich history here at the Civic Garden Center with composting. We're regularly teaching classes on backyard composting for beginners, and we offer those typically in the spring and the fall. We also have our Master Composter Certification program, which is a 4-week course, usually held in August, to really take a deeper dive into composting. And after the course, participants will complete 30 hours of community service related to composting, and then they'll receive their Master Composter Certification.
Started composting as a way to get rid of veggie scraps from the kitchen, and I felt bad about putting my vegetable waste in the garbage, in garbage bags, and I also felt bad about the amount of waste. So when you buy a lot of vegetables at the grocery, you always end up with a rotten cucumber or something that's, your tomato is gross, and you have to throw all that stuff away. Well, when I put it in the compost bin, it feels good. Like it's fulfilling its cycle, and it's gonna become really good compost dirt for my yard, and it's not gonna just end up in a landfill in a plastic bag. So that's the reason we started. Cooler bins are excellent for any kind of composting, but especially your food waste and scraps, because you don't want to introduce any vermin into the yardscape. I don't have a large area. If you were out in the country, you could put your compost far away from the house and the barn, and it wouldn't matter. But in the city, you want to keep it a little safer. So the compost bin, none of the rodents can get in it, and it stays elevated off the ground, and it gets really hot because it's made of metal, which helps cook the compost that's in there. So we use a combination of like your food waste from the kitchen, but also some dirt, throw some leaves in there. You want all kinds of stuff in here, like even paper and cardboard occasionally. And you want to keep it kind of wet and hot. So it's nice if it's in the direct sunlight where it gets really hot. It's going to compost no matter what. It's just going to be faster and more efficient. It's a lot of peace of mind knowing that I'm not putting things in plastic bags that end up in the landfill. is a lot of free compost, which, you know, I don't buy fertilizer. I don't have to worry about how rich my soil is. I just kind of wing it. And that's kind of fun too, is that it's not all perfect and planned. You just kind of see what happens. So as we use the compost in the yard, we have filled in areas that were nothing but clay and rocks, and just kept replenishing those parts of the yard, and now they are really robust with plant life and bees and butterflies and rabbits and all kinds of chipmunks and squirrels, and it's just almost growing your own little ecosystem, you know, and helping to maintain it. I would say number one for me with composting is I buy a lot more vegetables and eat a lot more vegetables, because I don't have to say, oh, I could only buy these vegetables because I know I can use them this week. I just buy as many as I want. They're not that expensive, and then if they do go bad, I just throw them in the compost and they become nice soil for us. So it does help you like eat more vegetables, I think, which is really nice. These tumblers are the best if you can afford it. I found one on Craigslist very cheap. Some people don't want them in their yard anymore, don't know what they are, and they last forever. I would think this one's probably 20 years old, maybe. So they last forever. They're really easy. This is, to me, the easiest way. They make all kinds of models too. Small ones even for apartments, you know. Outside you can just stick it on your patio and use it. So if you have a yard with yard waste like leaves, the easiest thing is to build a bin, and then you just blow all the leaves in there. You don't have to pick them all up. You don't have to do anything with them. So I really like the leaf bins, and they're pretty easy if you have a lot of yard waste.